All right, so here's what my project looks like to start out with. Real quick, I just want to show that I took my original image and made it fit this space. And again, this is shown in the video on the DPA site called Vector Portraits. So even if you're not doing a portrait, it's really important that you watch that so you know how to set up your image. And then I made a copy and have my image that I'm going to trace off to the side. So this is not, I'm just moving it so you can see it's not on any background, meaning this has that transparent background behind it. So this is like my project. If I were to save it, this is what's getting saved. Anything around here, if I were wanting to print it or do anything to it, that is not part of the project itself. That's just kind of the outside workspace. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of work on this. And then I'm going to show how to finish by grouping your image if that's easiest for you to then place it onto a background. You can add a photo as well as a solid color or a gradient to create contrast. If you did not work this way and you have something that looks like this, and you have two of your images that you worked onto this same background, I'm going to show how to finish the project if you worked this way. You do not need to start over. However, I would not consider it done if you just have one that you worked on and they still kind of both look like this. So again, I'm going to be showing how you can go from this to a finished project as well as going from this to a finished project. Okay, so as you can see, I have my project on the right, and then this was what I had traced and moved my pieces over to the left. Again, it's not perfect, but you kind of get the picture. All right, so say I'm finished with my project. I no longer need my image that I copied from. I also no longer need the image that I traced. From here, I'm going to go outside of my area to select everything. So again, I went, oh, let's delete that again. I went outside of my area, selected with the left keypad button, right click, and then you can do group, or if you like keyboard shortcuts, it's Control Alt G. So I'm going to click group, and now this is one image. Okay, last step, I'm going to add a background. So you can do a shape, or you can also do an image. Just going to fill this background with a shape. And then I'm going to do Control back or down arrow. You can also right click order, bring forward, bring backwards. But now I have the ability to see what color I'm wanting to have behind my image. And again, try to keep in mind you want to add some contrast. So maybe I kind of like this blue, but maybe like a darker blue. I'm like, ooh, don't look good. So you can play around with this until you feel like you've found a nice color combination. Ooh, really don't like that one. It's like that's a little dark, I would say. Let's see what green looks like. Kind of was like in the yellow. I think I'm going to leave it with the light yellow. You can also add a gradient. If you want your border left, you can leave it, or you can have it transparent. Maybe you fix it so it fits the space a little bit better. You could also add a frame if you want, meaning keep a border and make it a little bit wider so it gives it kind of a nice level of finish. But again, you can try gradients. So let's see what a gradient effect does. Ooh, not great. I'm thinking I really like this lighter yellow, so I'm going to leave it like that. If I were to do a background color, but again, you can also add an image. So let's see what an image would look like. We can either search the web, just like we did in the room design, or you can upload from computer. I don't think I have anything good on my computer for a background right now, so let's search the web. Maybe I look up basketball. And I can add something like this, or maybe even a zoomed in basketball might be kind of cool as a background. So let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna actually make this larger and then I'll go back in and crop. So let's send this to back. So now I know what size I need. And then this right here is your crop tool. So I'm just gonna crop it to fit my space. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. And you could see what it would look like with an image as a background. Say you worked this way, where you had both of your images onto your transparent background or your workspace. That's fine. Just make sure that you finish your project correctly. So I no longer need my image that I worked from and then the image that I moved my stuff on top of. I am going to want to select around my piece, group it, and then I can hold down the shift button as well as the corner just to make sure that when I resize it, it doesn't get all funky and then start stretching in ways you don't want. So now I have my image that fills up my space. And then just like I had shown before, you can add a shape behind as a background as well as an image. All right, hopefully this helps to clarify a few things. And again, you don't need to trace every single little detail, but make sure that you are, adding some detail so that you can see what that image is.